You can't please everybody. Period. You can't please everybody. You're not going to please everybody. Um, everybody's not going to have your back. That even if they claim to be your friend, everybody's not going to have your back. Everybody's not going to be that person you want them to be in your life. Sometimes you have to have multiple friends that are able to do multiple things. So you might have that one friend that you go out, you go out shooting pool with, or you might have that friend that you go out to a bar with. You might have that friend that you only want to go to a card game with. You might have that friend that, you only can talk about superhero stuff with. You might have that friend that you can only talk politics with. You might have that friend that um they're the only ones that understand, medical related situations. You may have that friend that you only can talk about um relationships with. So you're not when I say you're not gonna please everybody, you're not. Me as a person who tends to have older friends, I don't have a whole lot in common with people that tend to be my age, and I'm 33 years old. And it's not from a lack of trying, but my personality tends to rub people the wrong way, and I'm okay with that. Like when I say I'm okay with it, it's not like I enjoy rubbing people the wrong way, but I think a lot of times when you tend to view the world a certain way, and people around you who are probably your age don't see the world the same way, you can kind of create a situation where people don't necessarily want to be around you. Now, the older people tend to, or I tend to attract older people. Um, all my best friends, all three of them are older than me by 10 to 20 years. 10 to 20 plus years, actually. Um, so because of that, I tend to know that first of all, I'm a natural. I like to. I've been a people pleaser for a lot of my life, and there came a time when I had to realize that even though I was a people pleaser, it wasn't benefiting me in any way to be a people pleaser. It wasn't benefiting me, because when it came time for somebody to be that person in my life and be my defender, be my protector, be my my guiding light, so to speak, the person that I could go to and say, "Hey, this is what's going on with me." They weren't there, you know. Um, I remember there was a situation that happened, and this the person to whom I'm speaking had a similar situation going on before, and I remember listening to all the ranting and raving and um giving my advice about what I thought and everything. But one of the things that you realize as a human is that sometimes it's easy to diagnose somebody else's problem, but you can't diagnose your own problems. And when you're in that situation, you want to find somebody you can kind of trust, or at least think you can trust for the most part, and possibly find somebody that was in a similar situation and say, okay, well, what did you do? What would you do differently? How did you get out of this situation? Like, I know what I told you, but no one ever takes all of your advice. It doesn't happen. There are people that trust me immensely, but we're not best friends. We're not colleagues. We're not homeboys. We're not homegirls. So I'll give you advice as a professional. Now when it's just my friends or whatever, okay, well, I tell them what I think. Again, my friends are older than me. They're probably not gonna take my advice anyways. Most times they don't, which is cool. I've accepted that. But for me, in this particular situation, there was something that was going on with me, in my relationship, and I was really in a, I guess for the lack of it, like I was in a really hurt place, and I just wanted somebody to kind of tell me what could I do to make the situation better, if at all. The person, when I did talk to the person, they kind of put the blame on me, and I was just kind of like, what? And I said, okay, well, all right. So this situation, because basically what happened was the person that I was with, I did something for their birthday, and they didn't like what I did. Like it just, I wasn't financially able to do what I wanted to do for them. So what I could do for them is what I did do. And they just kind of went off on me, and it was just bad. It was just all around bad. So I was just like, well, what do what do I do? And again, they kind of pushed the onus back on me and said, well, is this what the person wanted? And it's like, well, no, I couldn't really afford to do what they wanted me to do, but this is all I could do. This is all I could afford to do. And it's just kind of like they just kind of pushed that back on me as if it was, well, it's your fault. You did it, so whatever. Okay. Again, the situation then snowballs into something even bigger. Like it kind of piggybacked off, the birthday situation. And I was just like, oh man, you know, and again, the situation was very similar. Not the birthday part, but the second part of it was very similar to the other person, um, the previous person I had given advice to. And I was like, well, what did you do? Like, and they just couldn't, didn't want to talk to me about it, didn't want to give me advice about it, just basically just got ghost on me. That's literally what happened. Um, and in that moment, I realized that, you can't please everybody, and everybody can't please you. And you can't make somebody be the friend that you want them to be. You can be the best friend. And I've said this, I used to say this when I was in my late teens. I always say, well, I'm everybody else's best friend. I'm everybody's best friend, but I don't have a best friend. And I felt that way for a long time because people, I'm an easily disappointed person, so it doesn't take a whole lot to disappoint me. And when people do disappoint me, it's a real gut punch to me. And even when I'm sitting doing my life coach sessions, sometimes there are things that are out of my control. And when I'm, and in life coaching, I'm pretty open and honest about whatever's going on. Now, in a professional counseling session where I'm the therapist and I have a client, I'm open, but there's a line that I don't cross. But in life coaching, I tend to be a little bit more open. I'm honest about, certain things that happen to me because that's a relating situation. And yes, I have had clients that have seen me professionally in counseling sessions, and they have come to my life coaching sessions as well. That's happened as well, but usually I don't invite them to my life coaching sessions until they're no longer a client of mine. So you can't make somebody be the friend that you want them to be. You can't. They only can be the friend that they know how to be to you. Because just because they're a certain type of friend to you doesn't mean that they're the same friend to Ricky, Bobby, and the rest of the New Edition. So because of that, you have to understand that you can't please everybody, and everybody can't please you. You have to find different friends that can fill different voids. And although I feel like that's very messed up that you can't just find one or two friends that they could be your everything. Luckily for me, I found two friends. I have a third friend, that I consider a very close friend of mine, and I have my two besties that we talk about. I would say almost everything. I would say maybe 80% of everything that goes on in our lives. We all kind of put it on the table. The other 20%, we just don't really put it out there because certain things kind of get a little uncomfortable. Because, like I said, my friends are older than me, so although they've lived, they've lived. Um, they don't. There are certain boundaries I don't even cross with them. No one's calling boundaries. I just think that there's a certain respect level I have for my friends, and unless I'm in that moment where I'm just like, I'm gonna tell what happened, and I just throw it all out there. And they've done the same with me. LB, I know you know this. What do I need to do? And I've been that person for them, and I welcome that, from them. I would encourage anybody to find friends that actually can be there, everything. But in all honesty, most people can't hold that kind of capacity of ability. They can't. Because that encompasses secrets. One of the things one of the reasons why people kind of made me their best friend is because I don't give away secrets. If you tell me something and it's staying with me, I don't feel a need to go out and tell anybody else what you told me, for the simple fact that you told me, and if you want to tell them, you'll tell them yourself. That's just kind of how I live. That's what I go by, or my code, if you will. So, you know, find you sometimes you just got to find friends, and everybody can't be that best friend. Like, everybody can't be that person that you depend on when you're on the side of the road and you run out of gas. There are certain friends for that. You late on the bill and you need some money last minute. Some friends you just can't really fill that void. Um, you don't have any food in your house, and you're hungry. Everybody, all your friends can't fill that void because you run into a position where now you're having to expose yourself for possibly being broke, for uh mishandling your money, and you don't want the joke and really ridicule. So you find that one friend that hey, listen, man, I'm hungry. I don't have any food in my house. Do you have anything you can give me so I can just put something in my belly, whatever. Or the homegirl, you say, hey, you cook anything tonight? I'm really hungry. Would you mind if I got a plate from you? And you don't have to worry about them telling they came to my house and took my food out of my refrigerator and took food out of my kid's mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are certain friends that you have to have for certain situations. There are sometimes you can find friends that can fill multiple voids at multiple times, and that's somebody you can possibly deem as your best friend or best friends. Like, you may have 2 or 3 best friends. Like, I do. I have 3. But who would have ever thought that I would have had friends, because I didn't grow up with friends. That didn't happen for me. And I don't say that lightly, but it's true. I remember many days where I was like, damn, I just should have one friend, just one. And it took a long time. But I knew, I think for me, one of the things that I realized at a young age was that people trusted me, but I couldn't necessarily put that kind of same trust into them, because they just never came across as reliable to me. And my mom tells me I'm very hard on people, and I am, for a reason, because when you have a heart like mine, you have to protect it, because needles come in all forms, shapes, and sizes. So do shoes, blades, knives, daggers. They all come in different, shapes and sizes, and you kind of end up getting yourself pricked. Maybe one time you might get, um, kind of, cut, a little slash on your arm. Then next thing you know, you got, like, daggers coming at your back. You got butcher knives coming at your heart. You got shards of glass coming at you. So for me, I kind of have to guard my heart. Um, and I've learned not to wear my heart on my sleeves, but I tend to be a very sensitive person. So even when I try to guard my heart and my feelings and my emotions and all those things, sometimes there are certain people that, again, you might have that friend that you can be vulnerable with, and you can say, hey, this happens to me, and they won't take it and use it against you. Different friends sometimes have to serve in different capacities. um I had that conversation with one of my besties. He knows who he is when he sees this video. um and that was one of the things that we talked about, was different friends serving different capacities. And again, when we had the conversation, it wasn't as if I didn't realize what he was saying, because I completely got what he's saying. I just kind of, I think for me, everybody wants those sets of friends. They can just, anything they need, the friends are there for them. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think the reality of it is that that's usually not what's going to happen. It's just not.